Over 30 Aloisnian employees from the Office of Immovable Property in Durrës are being investigated by the prosecution on charges of abuse of office and corruption involving property ownership titles in the portside city. After the International Monetary Fund, USAID has also called on the Albanian government to be careful with granting PPP concessions in the energy sector, requesting more transparency over the process. The Investigative Commission on the Tahiri case began the first hearing with the SP demanding the investigation date back to 1992 and the DP calling Edi Rama as a witness. Good evening. It's 6 o'clock on Monday, the 26th of March 2018. Welcome to the English edition of Aura News. My name is Alexandra and I'm here to bring you the day's top stories from across the country translated into English. Just a short time ago, a sensational investigation put many Leisure municipality officials behind bars, including the mayor himself, although they now have been released under the condition of house arrest by the courts. Now, another coastal city finds itself involved in a similar scandal. Prosecution investigations are now centring on the portside city of Durrës, where it turns out there has been a massacre with the alienation of properties, with mass arrests being warned. Sources from the Durrës prosecution told Aura News that a large number of files were seized, which are being investigated, while it has been learned that over 30 employees and former employees of the mortgages and Aloisni have been targeted. The prosecution has requested that, pursuant to investigations initiated to interrogate the employees of these two institutions. According to sources from the accusation body, it has been done a massacre with the alienation of properties in Durrës. It is about the alienation of properties in different areas of the coastal city, while in the following days, in addition to employees with different assignments in the mortgage and Aloisni offices, former leaders of these two institutions are expected to be called for interrogation. From the investigation so far, sources at the prosecutor's office explain that the areas most affected by the alienation of properties are the coastal ones, such as properties in Jiri Lalzit, Isham, Hamalai, Rushkul, and the coastal area of Kuntund Iri and that of Kalmi. It is in these neighbourhoods that it is suspected that officials have committed the criminal offence of abuse of office and falsification of documents with the purpose of alienation of property, giving them to different persons in violation of the law. The investigation, which started with the arrest of the former mayor of Isham, Suleiman Ibrahimi, and his subordinates, has revealed other officials were indeed involved in this scandal. USAID is the second international institution that has called on the Albanian government for greater transparency in the process of awarding PPP contracts in the energy sector. This is the second appeal following that of the International Monetary Fund, issued during the presentation of the energy strategy for 2030. USAID's representative, Katherine Johnson, demanded more competition in this aspect. I want to repeat the message of International Monetary Fund. Albania will benefit more by not granting uncompetitive concessions to individual businesses. There should be transparent contracts with standards in the energy sector. No one should receive special treatment, said Katherine Johnson. However, Albania's Prime Minister Edi Rama held a different view. The new strategy will provide more security for investment, said Edi Rama. The head of the government also stated that within the year, citizens will be able to become shareholders of the electricity distribution operator, as this company will be listed on the stock market. Citizens can become shareholders of the EDO within the year, said the Edi Rama. The EU ambassador Romanov Lahutin appealed for more investment in renewable energy to reduce dependence on imports. Renewable energy is important for Albania, said Romanov Lahutin. Meanwhile, the Minister of Infrastructure and Energy, Damian Gjiknouri, promised a reduction in losses and increase of income. We aim to reduce losses by up to 10% by 2030, predicted Damian Gjiknouri. In the first hearing of the Investigative Commission on the Tahiri case, Socialist MPs demanded that the cannabis investigation go back to its beginning of 1992. According to the Socialists, the period prior to 2014 must also be investigated, and not only the period from 2014 to 2018 as the Democrats demand. This is because it was the Democrats who were in power prior to 2014. MP Paulin Sterkai submitted a request to the head of the commission, Edi Paloka, and demanded that the former heads of state be summoned as witnesses. Meanwhile, Paloka filed the preliminary investigative plan where the object of this commission was determined. According to Paloka, everyone from the Prime Minister, Edi Rama, to the heads of the police and prosecution officers should be called as witnesses. The investigative plan foresees the involvement also of the entire procedure for the extradition of Nezar Saiti to Italy. Earlier in the session, the Socialists requested the time period of 1 week in order to get acquainted with the preliminary investigation plan and to suggest changes or additions. In a further debate, the Democrats requested that voting on the plan be conducted in secret. The departures from the SMI continue. The latest case arose in Devol, where the chairman of the City Council, Albert Lilo, has switched sides, instead joining the Socialist Party. 3 small party councillors also joined the Lilo's departure, who in a joint statement said that the decision was made after the recent political developments and following consultation with voters. But the SMI MP in the Korcha region, Edmond Panariti, in a post on social media networks, described the move as a purchase through workplace pressure. The 3 members of the Devol Municipal Council, respectively representatives of the Social Democracy, Social Work Party and PDRE, leave the SMI? Nonsense. As for the chairman, he is just the next purchase with workplace pressure. When the theatre finishes, we will also give you the statistics, wrote Edmond Panariti. The country is about a year away from local elections, but recent moves in local parliaments are showing that preparations have started. On Saturday, 2 SMI councillors at the Korcha Municipal Council joined the SP, while earlier in the week 4 councillors left the SMI in Shkodra and 2 in Puka. The departure of the SMI councillors started several months ago at the Tirana Municipal Council, but in the last few weeks there were also movements in Vlora, Fir, Elbasan, Belch, Girocastra, Skrapar and Kurbin. SMI Chair Monica Kruemadi visited this Monday residents affected by the floods in Shkodra, emphasising that she did not go there for politics but to stay close to the residents during this difficult time. She underlined for this situation an ultimate solution is needed. We come on behalf of the parliamentary group. We helped as much as we were able to with an extra focus on assisting with livestock. We have come to show solidarity. We do not want to use this disaster for politics. It is important to find the opportunity to provide on-the-ground assistance. The moment that these lands were taken over by hydropower plants, it became their responsibility to deal with the consequences of these floods, said Monica Kruemadi. Kruemadi was also accompanied by the SMI Deputy Chairman, Luan Rama, and the SMI MP for the region of Shkodra, Agron Chela. Rama underlined that it is the duty of every governmental instance and state institution to be near the residents. The Kosovar government has rejected the request by some Serbian officials for a visit to the country. The director of the Kosovo office in the government of Serbia, the general secretary to the president and the minister of culture were all scheduled to hold meetings with the Serb population in Mitrovica. The meetings would be held under the framework The Situation of Serbs in Kosovo. However, their request was rejected by the Kosovar Ministry of Foreign Affairs because of the statements and positions they hold, believing they may trigger tension regarding the situation. It was also foreseen that the Interior Minister of Serbia would travel to Mitrovica to visit the Vucetić family, with whom he meets every year since 2013. According to Serbian media, the family's home suffered an exploding bomb some years ago, which resulted in injuries to their children. However, the request to enter Kosovo was also rejected for the Interior Minister, citing the same reason as those other applicants. Numerous police forces are now located in northern Kosovo following the government's decision not to allow the entry of Serbian officials in the country. Through a police announcement, it was made known that this presence has no other purpose than the implementation of the government's decision, ensuring citizens do not fall prey to misinformation about the commitment of the police force. Petronini Luarsi School is one of the high schools where an open class was held for the LGBT community, and with discussions including topics like violence and homophobia, a matter that has sparked considerable debate in the public. But unlike public reactions of the known names such as Tritan Shehu and Uli Magnani, who expressed that such classes are intolerable, the students themselves expressed their opinion that such activities should be developed in all schools as they positively influence the reduction of discrimination against this community. We talked about the relation between homophobia and violence, explained the students. To have such open classes do such classes actually cause deviation from what some consider the normal sexual tendencies, as much of the Albanian public is concerned? Sexual orientation is not contagious, laughed the students when posed this question. Such topics related to violence or homophobia are part of the open classes of schools in cooperation with the Regional Education Directorate, where students directly participate in the discussions. Those opposing this particular topic say that it lays a dangerous precedent, with the LGBT community itself reacting via social networks and media, calling it just another step to accepting a person of a different sexual orientation. And that's the news across the country today. Thank you for watching our English edition this evening, and be sure to join me again every Monday to Saturday at 6 p.m. for the latest news from Albania. Once again, on behalf of Aura News, thank you and good night.